The old way of doing taxes is gone. Today,
Test. Okay, cool. For some reason it's having some weird issue with my audio. So we're going to do a run through on how to play SpellWeaver in the basics. I did a video on this before, but it had some issues, so we're going to go ahead and just make a brand new one. So if you played Magic the Gathering, this is very similar to lands. They don't stay in play, though. That's one of the main differences here. This is called a Shrine. This one is Corruption Shrine because I picked the Corruption faction. You'll notice it's got a +1 and a little circle with a spider in it. That is going to be a level for Corruption. Each faction will have its own little symbol right here. Or +1 mana, and that is +1 card draw. Now you will automatically draw a card every turn, but you do not gain a mana every turn like Hearthstone. So you can gain a mana and draw a card on top of the card you've already drawn for your turn, or you can gain a level in Corruption. Levels are part of the card's casting cost. They're not spendable, but it's more of a, you must meet this requirement in order to be able to spend the mana to play the card. Now we do have some special shrines. We'll talk more about these in a second as far as the powers go. This one you can gain 1 level in your chosen faction, which would be Corruption, or +1 mana, and instead of drawing a card, you gain a skill. The skill is listed on the card. This would be Soul Prison. It requires you to have at least 2 levels of Corruption, and then that little diamond-looking icon there represents any color. So you have to have at least 3 levels. 2 of those have to be Corruption, and the third one can be in anything. It's going to cost you 2 mana to activate, and it has a cooldown of 3 turns. This one would be the enemy hero sacrifices a creature, gain 2 life. Think of these as hero powers from Hearthstone. Every hero has its own power, and then 2 empty slots that you can slot in any one of these special shrines into. We'll look at another one here. So this one's Haunted Cemetery. So this one only requires 2 levels in Corruption, costs 1 mana, has a 2-turn cooldown. The next time an enemy creature dies this turn, summon a zombie legionnaire creature onto the field. Now, if you kill the creature and then play this, it's not going to give you a zombie legionnaire, which is this fine gentleman here. You'll have to play this first and then kill something. This order is very important. So let's jump into some creatures, and we'll just go with the Zombie Legionnaire because we've already talked about it. So here is his mana cost. You can see he's costs 1 mana. It requires you to have at least 1 level in Corruption. So, just make sure you're getting that. That's the order we talked about. It's not spendable, but you have to have that in order to use it. So this little area right here has a lot of information. You can see we've got these little arrows inside the sword. This is the creature's speed. We'll talk about speed in a few minutes. This 2 here on the sword is going to be the creature's attack, and this little 2 here in the heart is its hit points. Unlike Hearthstone, creatures heal at the end of your turn. So if you're trying to kill an enemy's creature, you have to kill it on your turn. or you have to do all of the damage to it at once in order to remove it, otherwise it will heal back up to full. Now, let's talk about speed a little bit. So this creature has a speed of 1. The color here will change based on the creature's speed. Corruption doesn't have a lot of fast creatures, so I won't be able to show you the max level on Corruption, but we can jump to a different one. So we'll just go to this guy here. Maybe. And apparently I can't select any other creatures right now. Okay, let's try and back out. See what happens. There we go. We'll just do this guy. So you can see the arrows here are yellow. So he has a speed of 2. This one has a speed of 3. Now, if I were to attack someone with this creature, and they have this creature on the board, my Zombie Legionnaire would not be able to target this infected survivor because his speed is 1 and her speed is 3. Now, she would be able to block him if they wanted, but you cannot directly target or attack a creature that is faster than what you're using to attack. It's very important. You also won't be able to block anything that's faster than your creature as well. So speed does play an important factor in the game. Talk about spells a little bit. Spells, they have the mana requirement. They also have the level requirement. This one is an action, so it plays on my turn. Some classes have instants, which you can play pretty much whenever. This is a curse. This attaches to the enemy hero and forces them to do something. In this case, it forces them to decay 2 cards, which is a fancy way of saying discard. Curses are spells that enter the field when played and provide a harmful effect while there. So these stack. You can have up to 4 cards of this, or 4 of the same cards in your deck. So you could have them, discarding a lot of cards. Now it says at the start of the cursed hero's turn, some of the text is still being touched up. This actually would happen if I were to play this on another player. This would happen at the start of my turn, that they would discard cards. That may be fixed later, or the text may be changed, but that's just how it works for now. Here's another curse. This one doesn't attach to a hero. This one stays on the field and stays on the board, and we'll jump into that here in a few seconds. Now this is the game board. You can see it's broken down into different sections here. We've got Dominion, Rage, Corruption, Order, Nature, and Wisdom, which are the 5 factions. When you unlock a faction, by getting that faction's hero, one of its 2 heroes currently, they open up these little banners, and these little banners have different types of quests on them. So you can do one of these and gain gold. Sometimes they'll do like this and they'll give you cards. Sometimes they'll give you packs, although I think most of that is being phased out at some point fairly soon. We'll just jump into the marketplace really quick so you can see what the prices are. This shows how many cards it comes with. However, this primary shrine pack does come with 150 cards, but it's 25 basic shrines for each faction. This is a small pack. It contains 4 cards, 500 gold. This one contains 10 cards. It's 1,250 gold. You can buy starter decks, which are really handy. And then they have closed beta packs, which you have to play 50 games in order to unlock the ability to buy one. These give you 80 cards for a single individual faction of your choice. I'm not a big fan of how this is laid out currently. It may change later, it may not, we'll see. But every time you unlock a hero, this is where that hero is going to be. When you build a deck, you have to pick a hero and you build that deck. It can only be attached to one hero, so you can't build a deck and then attach it to a hero, or have a deck standing by and attach it to a hero. You have to have that hero with the cards already under it. So each faction has 2 heroes. This is one of the Corruption faction. This is the starter Corruption faction hero. Nephoros, Aspiring Necromant. This is his hero ability that we talked about earlier, and this is your health pool. There are a few different ways to win the game. One of them being, obviously, get your enemy's health total down to 0. Another one would be get your health total to 40 hit points. You automatically win. And there's a few factions that have some card combos that will allow you to automatically win as well. When you go into play, this is how you pick the hero that you're going to play. You'll select it, and then you go to Quick Battle. You can do mixed colored decks, mixed faction decks, which is kind of awesome. We're going to play against the AI just so we can take our time and explain things. So unlike Hearthstone, when you mulligan, you can't pick individual cards and keep them or throw them back. This is going to be an all or nothing situation here. So we've got some decent stuff in our hand. We're going to go ahead and keep this. Now here's your hero, here's your health total, and these are the hero power spots. Now this one is locked down. This is the one that comes with the hero. And it requires you to have at least 2 levels in Corruption and then 1 level in any other faction. And it costs 3 mana and it has a cooldown of 2 turns. Now the first shrine you play, it doesn't matter what it is, it always has to be used to gain a level. So here you see the other one is grayed out. We're gonna go ahead and gain a Corruption level. You'll see right here, now we have that right there. And this is kind of a neat feature. It's called Divine Offering. So I can hit that, and I can pick any single card in my hand. I can shuffle it back into my deck, and it will let me look at the top 4 cards, 5 cards. If one of them is a shrine, I can keep it, and the rest get shuffled back in. We're not going to do that because we have some shrines right now, so we don't really need to. Now these 2 spots right here are kind of important. So this line is your attack line. This line is your support line. Creatures in the support line, unless they're flying, cannot attack or block. If they're flying, they can attack and block without leaving the support line. The attack line, you can attack other creatures, you can attack the enemy directly, but you cannot target the support line from your attack. You may have spells or abilities on creatures that will allow you to do so, but you can't just out and out directly attack. This is a really cool feature. So here's your deck. This shows you how many cards left you have in your deck. Each deck has a minimum of 60 cards. You can have more than that. I don't know what the limit is. But it shows you a timer. Now, if you run out of cards, unlike Hearthstone, you don't start taking damage. The second you draw your last card, you're done. It doesn't matter if you have a play that will win you the game. As soon as you draw that last card and that number reaches 0, you automatically lose. This is your graveyard. You can actually search through it and see what's in it, which is really handy because they do have some graveyard mechanics in this, which is really awesome. So this is the end turn button. This shows you your opponent's mana pool. This shows you how many cards they have in their hand. You can see what their hero powers are, and their life total, and the faction that they're playing. So we'll go ahead and end our turn. So if we attack with anything, he's going to block there, so we're just going to hang tight for a minute. We'll let him trade into us so we can control how things are being blocked. There's our zombie that gets summoned, which increases him to a 5/5. Now, she doesn't have the soldier descriptor, so he's not going to get buffed up from her.